course. So when we unpacking this baggage, right? Say for example, I'm sitting with I'm going to pick something random here.
Yeah.
Say I'm sitting with a lot of shame in my life,
Right.
right? Now, when I unpack the shame, where
Mm-hmm.
do I unpack it to? So I'm just picturing, right, unpacking my bag. When I
Yeah.
unpack my bag, I take it out of my bag and I put it in my closet. So
Yes.
when I'm unpacking the shame, what am I doing with it? Where is it going?
That's a very good question. And you know what I tend to believe is that we as humans, what happens is when we go through an experience, like for example, an experience that could have been labeled as a shameful experience, we tend to clench and emotionally. So it's kind of like closing your heart so you don't fully experience that shame, but then you always, and as a protective way for brain to protect you from another experience like that, you tend to avoid anything related to that experience. So when you unpack the baggage, what you do, you actually first of all experience it from a very different perspective. So for example, if you were 7 and you went through something that made you feel shame, what I would say is that now you approach that perspective from the adult that you are. Because as an adult, there's some things that you would see now that you wouldn't have seen as a kid, because emotionally you're more mature and there's some logic that you wouldn't have applied as a kid. So when you do that, you learn to actually let go of some of those things that made you clench and hold on to that shame. And then secondly, it's actually allowing yourself to feel the full extent of it. And I know this is beyond the norm. People say just let it go and throw it away, but that's the same as clenching and closing your heart and not letting it. You have to sit enough and be comfortable enough to sit with your feelings and let them go through your heart and let them fully feel the whatever was feeling, and then you're able to let it go and move on with life because you've allowed yourself to kind of like strip off what was holding you back. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. So what I'm hearing here is that when we unpacking our feelings, maybe it's sitting in our emotions are sitting in our heart. We're feeling it in,
Yeah.
we're feeling it in an unprocessed manner, like you said.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when we're unpacking it, we want to connect it to what our mind is saying, and we want to process it, we want to think about it, we want to feel it, and
Yes.
we want to analyze it. So we're not actually unpacking it like we're unpacking a suitcase and taking it out, but
Yes.
we just bringing it to the surface.
Yes, you're bringing it to the surface and then not letting it continue to rule your life, not letting it continue to make you make different decisions. So it's letting it float through your conscious mind so you can see it, acknowledge it, and then whenever now you're faced with a situation where you would have retracted and gone back to feeling shame, you will have it in your presence, which means you'll say, well, I'm reacting like this because this happened, but today I'm going to make a different choice.